Hey everybody, it's Chevy, nobody else's auto. Tonight we're going to check out some more cool new inventory. However, it's not a complete car or a complete truck, because I buy a lot of this type of stuff too. Front clips, pickup beds, things like that aren't necessarily complete vehicles, but still good inventory and definitely still useful in restorations. Which also leads me to something else I wanted to mention. Whenever you call me or somebody like me, it's so important to be very specific about what you're looking for. You wouldn't believe how many times people will call me and say, you know, do you have any 64 Chevelles? Well, I don't have any 64 Chevelles here. And they say, okay, thanks, click, and hang up, without ever telling me what they needed. However, I do have a front clip for a 64 Chevelle here, as well as some other parts for that era of car, plus stuff that interchanges between different A-body GM cars of that era. So that's why it's so important. When you call me or anybody else looking for parts, make sure you're very specific about what you need, because they may have it even if they don't have that specific car. You got to remember, not only do I have 2,000 cars on the ground, I've got 6 buildings that's 20,000 square foot under roof full of cars and parts. I've got 6 semi-trailers full of parts. So I've got a lot of inventory and a lot of parts for cars that I may not necessarily have that exact car sitting here on the ground, but I still might have parts for it. So be very specific when you call me or anybody else about what you're looking for. So tonight, let's go check out some of these front clips that have been coming in recently, as well as some great pickup beds that have been coming in recently. Pickup beds, a lot of them get turned into trailers over the years. I've got a lot of those. Some of them just got taken off, got a flatbed put on it, got sat off to the side. So I've ended up with a lot of pickup beds because of that, both short and long. So we're gonna catch a few of those tonight. So let's go take a look and check some of this stuff out. Lots of pickup beds been coming in recently. Some of these front clips. So let's just go down here to the end, start working our way through this stuff. Down here on the end, another front end for a 1966 Impala. Now I do have some 66 Impalas here. This was just a front clip, something somebody pulled off years ago. Who knows, maybe they needed the engine out of it, pulled the front clip, got rid of the body, who knows. But the front clip was still sitting around, still good pieces there. Obviously don't want that type of stuff to go to the shredder. Still got the center hood molding on it. Grill, headlight pieces. 327 66 Impala is what this was, or what this came off of. Front bumper still there with the brackets and everything. So there again, still a lot of good pieces. 64 Chevelle. This is a pretty nice front clip as well. We look at the front fenders. This front end really looks pretty solid all the way around. Fenders look pretty decent. Hood looks pretty decent. Some of the headlight pieces are still there. So there again, that's why it's so important to be specific about what you're looking for when you call me or anybody else when you're looking for old parts. Now, along with the 64 front clip, also got some 65 parts. It was an El Camino. We've got the El Camino doors. We've got some of the bumpers for the 64 and the 65 there that came with this deal. And there's the 65 front clip. Once again, pretty decent looking metal. A lot of the front pieces still on this one as well. So like I said, very important to be very specific when you call about what you need. So not only have been bringing in some front clips, but several pickup beds here over the last few months. Starting off right here with one you don't see very often, 5859 Fleetside Chevrolet. This is kind of rough. It's kind of banged up and beat up, but it's a fairly solid old bed. The sides of it are definitely going to need some smoothing out, but really looks pretty solid. The gate's kind of banged up on it as well. Has a great look to it, at least. On the old 58-59 era Fleetside long bed. Next to that Chevy bed, 63-64 era Ford short bed. This bed has a little bit of rust in it, but it's not terribly bad. It does have the factory short bed side moldings on it. The worst thing about this bed, someone had put a tonneau cover on it at some point, So there's all these little holes that would need to be repaired, just tacked in where they put the snaps on for the tonneau cover. But there again, where this bed came from, once again, more parts. Extra set of doors for the same truck. So that's definitely a pretty fixable little short bed with the hard to find trim on it. Behind this one, I'm not sure what this next one is. I was told it was a Ford. It's kind of cattywampus on whatever this frame was they've got it sitting on. It is a short bed, but not really sure what year it is and don't really know much about it, because that's exactly how I got it. So not a lot left there, but would be an awesome bed for like a rat rod or something. How about some more Chevys? 58, 59 Fleetside short bed. Now this bed's really pretty clean. The tailgate's a little rough, but we look down the sides of this thing, and this is a pretty decent looking bed. It's used, it's old, it's got some age to it. It needs a little massaging and smoothing, but overall, not too bad, especially considering a little short bed like that. And while we're here, let's check out a couple more. Even though these have been here for a little bit, this 60 short bed Fleetside. This was actually made into a trailer in 1978. This was a really cool truck. I actually found this whole truck on this old farmstead. However, it was completely dismantled. But this was actually a 1960 C10 short Fleetside custom cab pickup. This would have been a beautiful truck in its day. They actually cut this truck in half in the late 70s, and they used this as a tool trailer. It had a welder in it and some tools in it. When I got it, I literally found this thing still in the machine shed where it had been sitting since the 70s. Only got it out when they needed to go fix something, then backed it back into the machine shed. We can see where this had the factory custom cab side moldings on it for a 60. So this would have been a beautiful truck. Unfortunately, it was dismantled years and years ago. But still a pretty good looking old bed for a 60 Chevy. The next bed, another kind of unique bed. This is a 48 to 52 era. And I think there's a slight difference between the 48 and the 50 and the 51, 52. But this is one of that era of an F2, F3 Ford bed. This is a bigger bed. It is altogether different than an F1 bed. And this does have the correct tailgate on it as well, because these tailgates are extremely difficult to find for this larger bed, and this one doesn't look too bad. This bed's got a little bit of rust and some typical dings and dents, but overall, really not too terrible. It is definitely a fixable bed and a hard to find piece on that larger F2, F3 size bed. In front of that one, how about a square body dually bed? This is like a late 70s era, I believe. And this is a really clean bed. Doesn't really have any rust in it. This one's been here for a little while, but pretty decent. The other fender's broken, so it does have a replacement fender that goes with it. It was dented here in the front, and it got the front edge of this fender, so it has a replacement OE fender to go with it as well. And this one actually has a GMC tailgate on it. Along with this, another piece that came in loose recently, how about Ford cabs? This one's a 48 to 50. This is really a pretty clean cab. I got this from a guy that had it stashed for a one-day project and never got to it. Pulled Herefords with a cow right on the door. Really cool look to that. This did come off of a bigger truck. It has an F4 badge on it. But really a pretty clean cab. A little bit of rust in it, but overall pretty minimal considering the age. has the cowl on the other door as well. Pretty good looking cab. There's some more Ford cabs that have been here a little while as well, but this one came in recently. Yeah, there's a 67 Chevy short bed step side as well that came in with this Ford cab. So kind of some interesting pieces. A whole batch of doors. These came in recently with another load of parts. Chevy 2 doors, El Camino doors. So once again, just another example of, just because I may not have that vehicle here doesn't mean I may not have the parts you need. You see how those are angled on those El Camino doors? Several different El Camino doors in that batch. So like I said, a lot of different things that come in loose that I have around here for inventory. And most guys that do what I do are like this. They have a lot of this stuff around. You just need to be really specific when you call with your needs. Along with that batch of doors, here's the rest of the doors that came in with that batch. Mopar doors, some Nova doors, some Chevy pickup doors. So, always something to keep in mind. Being very specific is super important when you call me or anybody else like me looking for parts for your project. All that information is so critical to know if myself or somebody like me is going to be able to help you with your project. So there you have it, another glimpse of some new inventory that's came in over the last few months. And like I said, that's why it's so critical to be clear when you call me. I've got a lot of stuff here. We saw one little section that we just looked at of miscellaneous stuff that's been coming in, and I've got 20 acres of it. So please, like I said, whether it's me or anybody else you're calling for parts, be specific. Year, make, model, body style, parts you need, things like that. That communication is so critical. The hobby that we're in is very specific, it's very unique, and every single person is building a different type of car. Whether you're doing a concours restoration or a rat rod, there's a different level of part that somebody's going to be needing and what they're going to want and what they're willing to spend and what they require for their build. You know, the guy doing a really nice restoration is going to paint everything, just needs clean sheet metal. The guy that's trying to build an old rat rod or a beater, he may need a faded green fender to match his build. Who knows? But without all that information, it's very difficult for me to be able to know what you need and be able to try to help you with your project. So that being said, if you got any other questions about any of this stuff or anything else we've got here at Nobody Else's Auto, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. So we can have that short conversation about your project, and I can get all that information from you to do some checking around and see what I may or may not have here that can help you out. So you like this old stuff, you like old cars, trucks, memorabilia, gas and oil, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody's Show. That's about all we do on here because that's about all I do. This is my everyday world. We get to mess with old cars and trucks around here. We have a lot of fun with it. And we hope that's why you're here, because you enjoy it as well. So be sure to check out the channel. Check out some of the other videos. Lots of cool old iron on there. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and definitely click that notification button. We do a lot of cool live stuff on here as well. You don't want to miss any of that either. So hope you enjoyed this video. Got any questions, give me a shout. I've had a lot of cool new inventory hit the ground lately, so stay tuned. We've got a lot more cool stuff coming up. Thanks for watching, everybody. We hope to see you soon on the next video.